Up, and we have significant breaking news from the NFL. Everything we had planned to do on the program has just jumped out the window. Kimberly Martin, would you please be so kind as to share the breaking news of the morning?
Yeah, Adam Schefter just reported that Dillon Gabriel will replace Joe Flacco for the Cleveland Browns. Dillon Gabriel will start against the Minnesota Vikings in London. This did not come as a surprise considering how this Cleveland Browns offense has looked of late. A lot of questions in Cleveland about the offense and Joe Flacco. Now we know, rookie quarterback up next.
Peter, here's what I think. I think they were listening to our pre-show meeting this morning. We had a lengthy discussion about when they should do this, whether they should do this, how they should do this. And now, an hour later, they have done this. Fill in the blanks for me.
The argument for going to Dillon Gabriel is he brings a little bit of spark, and maybe you get something different because you were going to Flacco because he was a responsible veteran, but they're -6 in turnovers.
That's right.
The decision-making hasn't been great anyway. So if you've got a 41-year-old who's not exactly keeping the ball and being smart with the ball, you might as well try. But gosh, a first assignment being Brian Flores on the road in London is not exactly ideal for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Dillon Gabriel, though, needs a little bit more mobility.
Yes.
Maybe a little spark to this team.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people watched, Lewis, what Jackson Dart seemed to bring to the Giants. And Peter was making this argument right off the top of the show. Jackson Dart's impact on that game felt like it was greater than just what he did. It felt like the whole team sort of said, okay, wait a minute, now we've got something to be excited about. Do you anticipate this having a similar impact on a Browns team that has, maybe championship is a strong word, they have as good a defense as just about anybody?
And I think that's one of the keys right there. It's not just the effect that it's going to have on the offense. Look, the defense is going to look at this and go, hey, look, now we have a shot when we get 3 and outs. Maybe we can actually start moving the football a little bit. Maybe we can get a little bit of a break here. The wide receivers will start running routes a little bit differently. The offensive line starts blocking a little differently. That, it's an intangible thing as far as being motivated by the fact that there was a quarterback change, but it has real tangible effects on the field. Guys all of a sudden feel as though, maybe they need to level up their game a little bit to match what this young man's going to bring to the football field. Joe just looked like he didn't have any juice. He didn't look like someone who was really willing to stand in there and make the kind of plays and take the kind of punishment and be able to make the kind of unique off-schedule plays that I believe Dillon can make. You saw it in the preseason. Yes, it's a tough assignment. Brian Flores is going to go, hey, well, you know what? You see this book right here? I'm going to show you all of this. But that's fine. As you said, Nick, it's the NFL. This is what you sign up for.
Watching them play offense hurt your eyes, right? So, it's hard to imagine it getting much worse, but that's easy to say until it actually happens. Nick, first guess it. Do you like the decision?
Oh, yeah, I like the decision. I think that it's probably something that you feel in a locker room, and the boost that you're talking about is there. The athleticism is the big point through it. I think Peter touched on this earlier, but it raises the floor of your offense immediately if you have some ability to run. Like the pocket passer is almost obsolete in the NFL. The strict pocket passer, which Joe Flacco is. Ability to move, run some zone read, do some other things to take pressure off the rest of the team, I think helps them a lot.
Yeah. Their tackles have struggled in Cleveland. And if you can't move and your tackles aren't doing a great job, you're going to get a lot of pressure, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, you're going to turn the ball over. All those things are coming to fruition. They want the Jackson Dart effect. And what I mean by that is, it wasn't like Jackson Dart put the team on his back and went, he had 100 yards, whatever it is, 112 yards. If they can get that with their defensive production, think about what Brian Burns did. What Dexter Lawrence, these dudes turned it on. If you get any of that from the Cleveland defense and all of a sudden things start to turn around, that's what you're hoping for. You're hoping for a breath of fresh air. That's what they're asking for.
This is why last week we had this question of Kmart, would you be shocked if the Browns made a QB switch? And I said no, because the question of Joe Flacco, it was going to keep coming up. If Joe Flacco didn't improve, everybody's going to look at that bench and say, you got 2 rookies there. Why are you not going to them? But also, I covered that Jackson Dart game, and I was in that Giants locker room, and I spoke to Brian Burns on the Friday before the game, and he's like, as a defense, we get, however he plays, we got to step up. We got to make sure that. So there is an effect, to your point about, Scatterboo doing his thing. But defensively, everybody picks it up. Everybody's looking around like, okay, we got to help out the rookie as well.
We saw this last year. Do you remember when Drake May went into the lineup for New England?
Yeah, they got
you saw it even in the preseason when he actually went in the game. It's a real thing. I think you'll see this happen.
How long will that juice, that spark last?
Well, let me remind everyone of a few different circumstances with the Browns. They have 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft, which, generally speaking, looks to be quarterback rich. Now, a lot of the quarterbacks that we like in it have not played so well so far in September. We're going to get into that with Jordan Rodgers in a minute. But the point I'm making is, it is incumbent upon the Browns to figure out if they have something in Dillon Gabriel and or if they have something in Shedeur Sanders by the end of this season, because they have an opportunity, we would think, next year to make an aggressive move for a quarterback if they want to.
That's the real answer to the test, right? Is do we have them in our building? If we have them in our building, let's go. But you got to give the guys opportunity to know if you got them in the building.
It's hard to know whether you do or not. I mean, you could look at Baker Mayfield and say they drafted him number 1 overall and they had him in the building and they let him go. So we'll see.
The Browns. That is the problem with the Browns. That you see Baker go off elsewhere to multiple teams and still be the kind of quarterback who you think can win you a championship. Why didn't it work? With all the quarterbacks that Cleveland has had, why hasn't it worked?
And one thing, I don't know if we know the answer to this yet, but maybe we can find it out. Is Flacco the backup or is Shedeur the backup?
No, I would assume it's Flacco still.
I would too, but at the Shedeur Sanders part of this, Shedeur Sanders has been a major story.
This door will revolve. It's not like Dillon Gabriel.
Right.
I mean, he might be. Shedeur will get a chance if he just hangs in the pocket, and his opportunity will come if the Browns continue to struggle.
Well, it's also who is number 2 is relevant, because as the same thing we said about Jackson Dart of New York, the fact that he was number 2 instead of Jameis Winston, these guys, you're one hit away from going into the game. So my question is, if that hit happens on Sunday in London, is it Shedeur or is it Flacco who comes in the game?
I would think right now it's Flacco, but I think for sure if you're Shedeur right now, here's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Here's your opportunity to get more reps, because now truly, but they don't want to go back to Joe Flacco.
That's right.
You don't take him out because you want to go back to him at some point in time. If you're Shedeur Sanders right now, though, whatever you're doing, I'm taking it up a whole nother level, because Dillon is not promised to stay in there. This is, as we're all talking about, this is really a tryout for everyone because of the draft capital they have next year. And that guy, we may not have seen the last of him yet.
And I'll tell you, the Giants traded up to get Jackson Dart in the first round. Dillon Gabriel is still a 3rd-round pick, so this isn't some sacred cow that they would never bench Dillon Gabriel.
Right.
He struggles. Yeah, he's on the block.
No, I think that winning the Green Bay game actually hastens a lot of this stuff. Like, wait a minute, we're too good to not at least take a shot and see what happens. I have Jordan Rodgers with me, who is an outstanding quarterback evaluator. We were going to dive into, and are going to dive into, a bunch of these college quarterbacks, Jordan, but as we get this news here, I'd love to get your perspective on it. Again, you studied Dillon Gabriel before the draft. What are the Browns getting at quarterback this weekend in London?
Well, I think the thing that stands out is he started 63 games in his career, most by a college football player, period. The other quarterback we saw do that was Bo Nix, and he had an immediate impact with the Broncos. Why? Because he's played a ton of football. And Dillon Gabriel was at 3 different schools, 3 different systems, and the constant with him was the ball always came out on time, and he was accurate. At every stop, he was accurate, 73 or 74% completion percentage at Oregon, and he protected the football. So it didn't matter the system, it didn't matter the Jimmies and Joes that were around him. He elevated the play of the offense at every stop, and the experience, I think, of a guy that played college for 6 years, and as I mentioned, 63 starts. I don't think this moment's going to be too big for him at all. I like him to be able to plug in and have an immediate impact, kind of like we saw with Bo Nix.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, we talked about Jackson Dart against a good Chargers defense. Is that the right time? This is a good defense. There's never the right time.
Never.
Right? You just got to take your shot, and so they're doing it. All right, so that's our breaking news of the morning. In the meantime, let's continue with what we were planning to do here, because